Hey, welcome back, gang. Today we're going to have some fun tinkering on Goldie here. We're going to be adding the fourth pedal back in. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that Goldie originally had four pedals. There was a zero pedal and then A, B, C. And then when I got my double neck, it doesn't have a zero pedal. And I decided I wanted them to both feel similar with the pedal positions. So I got rid of the zero pedal and moved A, B, and C back over to these first positions. What was on the zero pedal, I moved over to my vertical lever and decided that what was on my vertical lever is actually a change I don't use a lot, and I could double foot it. So last time I saw Derek, we drilled out a spot for a ninth pedal and put what was on the vertical lever over on this new pedal here. So that was a lot of fun, and it's cool getting to double foot some stuff. If you want to know more about those changes, like specifically what they were and more about the thought process, you can check out my buddy Brian's website, thepedalstop.com. We just did an interview recently where I talk about all that stuff, the changes, and kind of what led to this whole situation. So for the last few months, I just haven't had anything on the fourth pedal, and I decided, something will come to me with what to do with that spot. And so I was just listening to some Tommy White stuff, and he has a whole step lower on 5 and 10, or at least 5. So I was like, man, I really like the sound of that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add the fourth pedal back in, and then we're going to create a whole step lower on string 5 and eventually 10, but I only have one bell crank right now. So for now, we're just going to do string 5 because that one's more important. So if you've never added a pedal or added a new change to your guitar, there'll be some stuff to learn here. The parts, we've already got the pedal. Luckily, we've already got the double bracket for it to go in. We don't have to drill out any holes, so we don't have to do anything too crazy. So we're going to need that. And of course, the fourth pedal cross shaft is already in there, so that's nice and easy. We're just going to be connecting the pedal to the pedal bar, the bell crank to the cross shaft, and then a pedal rod going to the changer. So yeah, of course we'll need the bell crank and the barrel. We'll need a nylon tuner. We already got the pedal, and then I got some pedal rods in here. Hopefully nice and easy, but things can always go wrong. There is going to be a little bit of trade-off. So on my half step lower on string 5 that's on my vertical, it is split tune with my A pedal. And unfortunately, with two lowers, we're not going to be able to use the split tuning anymore because the split tune would prevent the whole step from going the whole way, right? Because that's kind of the point. So there is a bit of trade-off here, but overall, I don't really use the split tune, so it's not very important to me. And then I can always go back. I can always take this off again. It's really no big deal. So first things first, we're going to get the pedal back onto the pedal bar. Luckily, pretty simple. We're just going to get those washers tucked in, slide it back in, make sure it's pointing the right way, and then we got our little hex screws. We're going to need the hex wrench. Yep. I'm just going to get those in there. We'll get the other one in there before we really tighten it down. I'll probably actually spin it on my own for the first part. You can see we don't want it to be super tight in there, right? There's a little sideways give. So that's what we're going to go for when we're tightening these down. Just tight enough that it's not going to fall out. Yep. So that part was nice and easy. Going to get rid of the pedal bar for now. And I guess we should go ahead and get the rod we need. There should already be a fourth pedal rod in here since we already had the fourth pedal on there at one point. Let's see, we're just going to kind of stand them up and then see what matches the length from changer to the fourth pedal spot. And this one looks like it might be it. Nope, that's a shorty. Here we go. So yeah, so you can, maybe we can bring this in closer now that we're done with all that. All right, so yeah. So of course we're gonna want the threaded end down here by the changer. And you can see that it crosses this fourth cross shaft, so that's going to be perfect. So this is our rod. Let's go ahead and clean up these other ones, get them back in there. So now we need to get the bell crank in position. One thing I kind of recommend, get this stuff out the way too, go ahead and slide it through, because we kind of want to see where what it's going to come up against as far as getting to the bell crank, any other rods that might be in the way. And I'm going through the second hole. The third hole, the third lower hole, is taken up by the half step lower. If I wasn't so lazy, it would probably be best to switch those. So the whole step lower can take the third spot instead of the second spot. But since there's only going to be one change on this pedal, the stiffness shouldn't be a big deal. Probably won't make that much of a difference. So we'll definitely work, I don't know if you'd call it smarter. We'll definitely be a little bit lazy because it shouldn't make a big difference. So you can see kind of where it's lining up. It actually gets there nice and easy. So this is where the bell crank is going to go. All right. So now we can slide that back out, and we'll go ahead and get this in. So first thing, we got to open this up. And this one isn't really what locks it in, this bottom one, these kind of bell cranks. It's this here that really locks it in place. This is more to just keep it from falling out, right? So maybe we'll back this one off too a little bit. All right, so there was our spot. So that's the nice thing. We can just, with this one, all right. So this bottom screw, like we said, we can go ahead and tighten this one in all the way. It's more for keeping it from falling out. The bell crank won't be stuck in this position. All right, so that's good. So now we get it into our standing position, and then now we tighten the recessed hex screw there, right there. And this one we do want to get pretty tight. Of course we don't want to strip it, but that's the one that locks it in place. Right. Cool. And I know these are kind of in the way. You can see now it's locked in place. So now we need to get the rod again. Unfortunately, I do have different sized rods and different sized hex tuners, so it might be a little bit of a journey at first, but we're going to make it easy. We'll go ahead and slide on this first one, and then we'll screw on this one. All right, so I actually got one with this shorter one that's open-ended. So we'll get that one screwed in just a little bit so the rod stays in place, and then there's our spacer. But we'll get this unscrewed in there a little bit more. Once we get it locked in, we'll be able to turn it with the hex wrench better than just with our fingers. All right, so I'm sliding in from the second hole on the bottom of the changer. Yeah, sliding in from the second hole. On the right string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So right now we're there. So the kind of nice thing about these ones is that I can choose which way the barrel goes, right? Because right now, zoom back in. Right now you can see that the rod is on the outside and the barrel's facing that way. So the hole it needs to go through is on the wrong side. So we're going to pull that barrel out and then pick which hole to go in this other way. With the hole step, probably going to go with the, we're going to go with this second, we'll go with this third spot on the front portion. All right, so there's a very low one, and then 2, 3. And then we'll go ahead and slide that in and then lock it. This is it. It's going to take a few turns to lock it. Actually, I might be able to, yeah. There's kind of nothing in the way, so I can just turn it like that. All right, now that the rod is locked in place, we're going to go ahead and tighten up those hex tuners so that they're flush. All right, so there's our lower. You can see that it's kind of sticking out a bit. Go ahead and turn that till it touches the spacer. I know that's going to be kind of impossible to see. All right, it's touching. So we're going to leave it like that for now. We're not really worried about how far it's pulling quite yet. The next thing we need to do is back off the split tuner, right? All right, so there's our split tuners right there. Wrench for those, and we're just going to back off the one on string 5. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be plenty. And let's go ahead and take an overhead look of that. All right, so you can see that's what we just backed off, that one right there, because that's what is going to keep the pedal from pulling all the way, right? That's the whole point of it, is to stop the changer finger from going too far. So it's backed off plenty, and the pedal should be able to pull the whole way. So essentially everything's connected at this point. Now we need to put the guitar together. All right, you can see that got the 4th pedal in there. Nice and connected. All right, now we need to adjust the rod to make sure it's pulling the right amount. And so that's all going to be done at the changer. Because this is all fixed, right? And it's locked in place. At that 3rd, remember we put it in the 3rd position on the changer. So it's going to pull it pretty far. So we're just going to pluck the string. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. We're just going to pluck it and then press on the pedal. It's actually pretty close. Actually, it's so close, I think we can just get a tuner, and should just be a turn or two. Let's try it again, see where it goes to. So it's pulling a little bit too much. You can see it's on the B. The B, of course, is tuned a little bit sharp. I've got this on equal, not on my sweetened tuning. This is just what it's actually playing. So we're just going to back it off at at the nylon. A little bit more. Getting pretty close. I'd say that's about perfect. And that's all there is to it. As far as, you know, if you were actually starting from scratch, you would of course have to, you know, drill those holes, put in the rack, put in the pedal, and then put in a new cross shaft. But since it was already there, just real nice and easy. So let's check out what the half compared to the whole is like. So on our vertical, we got the half. Let's get these other levers out the way. And since we're not split tuning that, we're going to have to adjust that because the split tuner was keeping it from lowering that full distance. So we'll have to adjust that one too. But again, with just only one change, very smooth. I mean, that's one finger, right? Oops, one last thing. We need to adjust the pedal height. So you can see that this new one we put on, actually you can't really tell, but you'll have to trust me that this one is a lot, sits a lot lower than the others. So we run the possibility of it hitting the floor before it gets to the full pressed position. So we need to bring it up a bit. We got our 3/8, and just gonna back that off. If you know me, I like to use Loctite on these so they don't lose their position when I'm traveling. All right, we got it backed off a little bit. Now we got to get this part turned, which can be a pain with the Loctite, but all right, I did it 2 turns. Yeah, you might need one more. All right, raised it up 4 turns. That should be good. You can see now they kind of stop at the same place. All right, and then maybe one last thing to check for is that we just got a little bit of wiggle, right? We don't want it super stiff. If it's super stiff, that means the hex tuner is sitting right up on that changer wall, right? And that can lead to over tuning issues, right? Say you go to a different climate and the strings are stretched out more, so you need to turn, right, the hex nut a little bit more. Now it's going to push on that changer finger, and then you're going to start over tuning. And then that's that problem where you press the pedal and it doesn't return to pitch. So that's why we want a little bit of give in there. So there's not just tension on the changer the whole time. Right. So that's perfect. Nice and easy. What are we doing? We got to check out what it sounds like and all the cool stuff you can do with that change. Let's talk about that vertical change real quick. So that's the half step lower. Oop, got my dobro on. All right, the half step lower. And with the split tuning, right, you get that. Right, that's kind of what you can do with that split tuning. And even without the split tune, it's pretty close, but not quite. But another thing you can do instead of having to use that split tune, right, pedals down, just slide up 1 fret and get on that E flat lever. So I will miss being able to not have to slide to get that minor chord sound, the minor 4. Okay, so now let's check out our whole step lower now. Just like I said, just smooth as butter. With only one pull and it's a lower, you don't really have to worry about it being too tight. If there were a bunch more stuff going on, then you would want it to be on the bottom hole of the changer. But with one pull, like I said, it's no problem. So let me play that little Tommy White lick that convinced me I wanted this change. Let's see if I can get it. And we do have to double foot it. Yeah, it's this, and I'm going to be posting the tab to, he did an instrumental of Tennessee Lineman, and he does it a few times on there. Let's see if I... There it is. I kind of remembered it. So cool. That's the main thing I wanted it for. I know it's not going to get used a ton, but it's cool that it's there. And then of course I still have the half step lower for, say, like good time and man. I need to tune that vertical a bit more, but yeah. There's my vertical. I don't always have to double foot it. If I'm not pressing the B pedal with it, I can do it like that. Oh geez, guys, I just thought of another super cool thing you can do with this pedal. So I won't be able to do it right now because I don't have it connected to my 10th pedal yet. All right, so we're lowering 5 and 10 a whole step. So think about it. When we lower 10 a whole step, all right, now we're in drop D. You just got to keep your foot on that pedal. So cool. I'm definitely going to have to get some more bell cranks. Hope you learned something from that. If you have any questions, let me know. And go check out Brian's website again. That's pedalstop.net. And we'll see you next time.